Greetings, gentle viewers, and welcome to the Rewatcher's Diary. In this series, I'll be looking into the Enneagram types of the characters from Buffy the Vampire Slayer. For today's episode, we're looking into Sunnydale's resident redheaded witch slash computer geek slash research girl, Willow Rosenberg. Willow is a type 3 wing 2 subtype 1 to 1, also known as the SX subtype. Now, types 2, 3, and 4 are all part of the heart triad, and I'm not going to lie, I had a really hard time choosing if Willow was an Enneagram type 2 or a type 3 because they are both part of the heart triad. The heart triad, or the heart center of intelligence, is focused on image. They seek attention from other people. They are focused on sort of how they come off to other people, and they deal with an underlying shame. But types 2, 3, and 4 all deal with this underlying shame in different ways. Type 2s tend to project whatever they're feeling onto other people in hopes of avoiding shame, while type 3s tend to deny their feelings in hopes of resisting shame. Types 2, 3, and 4 are all driven by how they feel, but they don't want to experience shame for just feeling things. Willow does not deal with her feelings, and type 3s have this detachment from how they feel, a lack of self awareness, if you will, about whatever they're feeling. She tends to avoid the heavier emotions. Think about the episode Lover's Walk. Instead of just establishing some kind of boundary with Xander and telling him that they just need some time apart to get over their contrived feelings for each other, Willow chooses to do a delusting spell. Over the course of the series, Willow would rather use magic to fix the problems in her life rather than just deal with the problems like a normal person. The core desire of a type 3 is to be valued, admired, and respected. Now, in contrast to type 2s who have a desire to be of use to others, type 3s define themselves by the image they project to the public, defining themselves by their achievements and their successes. While Willow loves to be of service to others, her actions are motivated by wanting to appear a certain way or being the best in a certain field. In Willow's case, she wants to be the best when it comes to computers or her education or magic. And unfortunately, in terms of magic, it manifests in her taking shortcuts if it means getting the results that she wants. It's an unhealthy type 3 behavior. Now, the core fear of a type 3 is failure or being seen as incompetent, worthless, or unsuccessful. Willow tends to disparage herself whenever she messes up something, like how she initially disregards her magical abilities because she has a tendency to mess spells up, like in the episode Fear itself. The core weakness of a type 3 is deceit, which means that they deceive themselves into believing that they are only the image they present to others. The best example of this is in the episode Restless. When Willow is in her restless dream, she imagines herself back in high school. Buffy removes Willow's cool, witchy exterior to reveal the mousy, nerdy girl that Willow was in high school. And Willow also shows a bit of insecurity when she sees Tara and Oz talking to each other like they're interested in each other more than being interested in her. The core desire of an Enneagram Type 3 is to hear that they are loved and valued for being themselves and that they don't need achievements or success in order to be worthy of love. The best example of this is in the season 6 finale when Xander talks Willow down from a metaphorical ledge by insisting that he just wants to be with her no matter how she's acting in the moment. The wounding message that a type 3 is subconsciously driven by is that it's not okay to have their own feelings or identity. Willow tends to not be allowed to deal with her emotional problems. In Something Blue, When she deals with Oz being gone, everyone tells her to just deal with it. In Doppelgangland, when Willow sees the vampire version of herself, she says, "That's me as a vampire? I'm so evil and skanky, and I think I'm kind of gay." She doesn't really focus her identity from her inner self so much as how other people see her or whatever people want her to be. So the wings in the Enneagram Type 3 are the Type 3 Wing 2 and the Type 3 Wing 4. Willow's dominant wing, in my opinion, is the 2 wing. She is focused on her outward self, the image that she projects to the public as a whole, as well as the desire to be useful to other people, the things that she can accomplish and succeed in the service of others. Willow's motivation is about the role she plays, and at the same time, she wants to stand out in a certain way, like in her own um, definition of standing out. To some extent, she likes being the research girl, but she doesn't want to be just plain old reliable Willow. Um, she wants to do well with magic, but she's not willing to put in the work. And she doesn't even realize the extent of her irresponsibility of how her drive for success and her needs to help other people actually ends up hurting them until she ends up almost losing everything that she loves and everyone that she loves. Throughout most of the series, Willow lacks a certain sense of self awareness because she's more focused on how she appears to others and accomplishing the things that she wants rather than the things that she needs to do and her own inner work. Now, for this section, I'm going to talk about the stress, stagnation, and growth patterns of the type 3. Type 3s under stress tend to act like the unhealthy side of a type 9. This manifests in type 3s keeping busy, pouring themselves into work, and at the same time neglecting to just take care of themselves in general. In the episode Something Blue, Willow is more focused on just doing spells and wants to avoid dealing with her emotional pain. She becomes unfocused and scatterbrained. And I think like the extreme version of the type 3 under stress is in the episode Same Time, Same Place, where she's literally like invisible um, be- as sort of this manifestation of her self neglect. She is stressed because she's not sure about how other people are going to react to her coming back, so she renders herself invisible. It's basically like this visual representation of a type 3 going into the type 9 because type 9s have a tendency to make themselves invisible. Now, in stagnation, or what I call the security blanket or a defense mechanism that type 3s act around those they're closest to, they go into the average to unhealthy side of a type 6. Type 3s in stagnation tend not to trust people and be suspicious of those around them. And I think that also manifests in some control freak tendencies, trying to avoid like a worst case scenario or have some sort of like sense of control. And I think in Willow's case, this shows when she uses the Letha's Bramble and the Tabula Rasa spell on Tara and later on everybody. She tends to lash out at people when she's angry, and she's blind to her negative attitudes and the consequences of her actions, especially around those she's closest to. The way that Willow acts in the episode Wrecked is a good example of type 3s going into this stagnation of a type 6. Now, in growth, Enneagram 3s act more like the healthier side of a type 6. They become more accepting of failure. Willow's character arc in season 7 is a very good example of her trying to act like a healthier type 6. She spends time in England to work on herself and stops trying to abuse magic. she becomes more accepting of her mistakes and her past regrets. Like in the episode, The Killer in Me, she starts to think things through before acting. And ultimately, I think in season 7, she tries to separate herself from what other people want her to be and works through her emotions. She starts to define herself. Now, ultimately, the reason why I chose Willow to be a type 3 is because of the one to one subtype, also known as SX. The one to one type 3s are relationship oriented, and that can manifest in like romantic relationships as well as very strong close friendships and family. Not necessarily the public as a whole, but on just a very small circle of people that they choose to pour their energy into. The SX or the one to one type 3s are charismatic and enthusiastic, and they focus their energy on supporting others. They tend to believe if those around me achieve success, then I am successful. They tend to compete for the attention and affection of those closest to them. In terms of how Willow acts in the context of this subtype, Willow tends to define herself by what other people want her to be, especially those she's closest to. She wants to be the one that Buffy relies on the most. Later on, she wants to have control over magic. At the start of, Buffy, one of Willow's earliest things is that, she has a crush on Xander and she's jealous of Cordelia. Whenever Willow is in a relationship, she tends to, be competitive and wants to keep them. Like with Oz and with Tara. In Once More with Feeling, for example, she says to Tara, do I have to fight to keep you because I'm not large with a butch? It sounds like a very, one-to-one oriented type 3, a very relationship oriented type 3. So Willow really pours her energy into those close relationships, those strong friendships, the way that the Scoobies perceive her. So, in summary, Willow Rosenberg is an Enneagram Type 3, dominant wing 2, subtype 1 to 1 slash SX. So, to finish things off, I want to talk about what I have planned going forward. My next video is going to look into Xander's Enneagram type. Um, as and in December, I plan on doing Vlogmas, where I'll be going into the Enneagram types for the characters of Squid Game. I'm also planning to do a vlog on the Enneagram types of the main 6 Avengers: Captain America, Iron Man, Thor, Hulk, Black Widow, and Hawkeye. There will also be a separate video where I go into the Enneagram types of Spider-Man, Ant-Man, Wanda, Vision, Sam, and Bucky. Then a separate video for the characters of Shang-Chi, and a video about the Enneagram types in the movie Black Panther. So if you want to be the first one to see those videos, make sure to subscribe to my channel and ring that bell. Don't forget to like the video and comment. Thank you for watching.